on the bottom right-hand corner. If you press the plus button, you can start a Q&A, so your viewers can ask you questions. Start a live stream from your mobile device. And regardless if you have an Android or iPhone, the process is the same. But there are some requirements to live streaming on your mobile phone.
If you find an orange golf ball, take your cup holder, bring it down to me, and we'll get you 9 holes golf club with 2.
Yes, we got it, Wayne. We got it. There we go. Click on the Mavs thing. Look at that, Wayne. Look at that, Wayne.
Oh yeah, good man, good man.
Well, everybody, we are here in the most unconventional setup that you could possibly put together. We currently have a computer on top of a garbage bin on top of another computer here in the broadcast booth. We are streaming live on YouTube, and we're happy we could bring you the game.
And first up for your Mavericks is number 24, Nate King.
Oh. Gotta let that curveball hit you.
Well, Wayne, we should do this like old times, I guess. We got this up. They can hear the audio. I'm going to shut this door so that it doesn't echo as much for those at home. But here we are. As this one hit down the line, fair ball for Nate King. He might have a chance to go for 2 as it pauses in to right foul territory. He slides in, and he's down. A quick play there for Nate King, and he looks to be shaken up as he's over at second base.
I think he slipped rounding first base. It's wet there, but safely in at second. That's what the Mavs need. Still a 1-1 tie.
It is a 1-1 tie. We do not have a score bug on YouTube, unfortunately, but at least we have the game. That's all you can ask for. We will be updating you with the score as frequently as we can. The Mavs got off to an early lead here in the first. They did leave 2 stranded within that against the big right-hander Weston Walls, who makes his second appearance here at Athletic Park this season for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Their lineup very similar to the last time we saw them as well, with players like Yeager and Gurney. Of course, Thomas Soto, the leadoff man again.
They are talking about whether or not that ball was foul or fair.
It was real close. This one would be a tough one to overturn.
Yeah. Well, Moose Jaw asked for the umpires to get together on that, and they did. But runner at second, nobody out.
And Micah Dvorak coming up to the plate. A guy that has potted in a lot of RBIs this season, and he looks to do it once again. He's chasing that league lead that it currently sits in the lap of Jackson Yeager.
Bunt?
Wayne's thinking about a potential bunt in this scenario. And he's going to lay it down. King is going to sprint over to third. Dvorak to first, not able to get there in time, but mission accomplished if you're Micah Dvorak.
Great bunt. Bunted it to the right guy.
And of course, with this stream being on YouTube, we won't have any commercial breaks. So you don't have to worry about waiting through any ads any longer. It's YouTube live stream. It's almost as good as it gets.
They might enjoy the commercial break.
They might too.
Let them listen to us.
Well, Wayne, I'm sure you enjoy them for a little downtime.
Oh, yes, they're great. Infield is going to play in.
And up at the plate is Jeremy Freeman Jr.
The good thing about YouTube is that you can zoom in. If you're watching it on an iPad or an iPhone, you can zoom in and you can get a field level of much closer than what it's set up here. And you can also cast it to your TV if you've got Chromecast.
Strike there from Wells in a 1-1 count against Jeremy Freeman. 1 out in the inning. King over at third. Mavs looking to take the lead here, and they've got a good guy in position to do so. Freeman with a really good batting average so far this year. Freeman swing and a miss. Bit of a change up there from Wells.
Yeah, good curveball.
Excuse me, Walls.
Both pitchers have been very, very good in this game. Only 8 hits combined between the two teams.
And that battery that we talked about on the stream that didn't exist between Roberts and his catcher King, they've only given up 2 runs so far in 3 games working together. So there's a combination there that fits for JT and crew. Here's Walls, collects into the glove, stares down Freeman. Here comes the throw, and it's in there, strike 3. So Freeman down on strikes, and King will have to wait a little bit longer as Johnny Volcano comes up to the plate for the Mavs.
Great sequence of pitching from Walls. Got up 2 strikes and then threw a fastball up and in, got Freeman off the plate, then came back with a wicked curveball and froze him for a called 3rd strike.
Johnny Volcano, who's batting .280 coming into this game today, gets into the batter's box and ready to face Walls. First pitch is going to miss for a ball. Conditions outside, they're a bit gloomy, kind of Scottish-like weather. Temperatures around +11 here in Medicine Hat. There's a little bit of rain there. It wasn't very long, but a 5-minute span. This one right into the palm of the catcher's mitt. Volcano will circle around. Here's the pitch. Volcano. It's through. King comes in to score, and Johnny Volcano, as he does so often in big moments, gives the Mavericks the lead. Big moment in the bottom of the 5th for Volcano, who now stands over at first base, and a guy that has done a lot of standing on base throughout his Maverick tenure, and especially in this game, is Carter Rowe.
After that run score,
Walls having a talk with his catcher at the mound.
Carter Rowe.
And Carter Roth, who's had his last name pronounced just about as many ways as you can, Ruth Roth. Doesn't matter. He's still the same ball player who bats near 500.
Well, it's 2 for 2 today.
Hit over to third. And a lob toss to first. Gurney had to back up to receive it, and that's out number 3. But it doesn't matter. Johnny Volcano with the all-important single to score. Nate King and the Mavericks with a 2-1 lead here on YouTube. We welcome those who are just joining in a 2-1 ball game. Mavericks leading the hits as well, 6-3. And I guess, unfortunately, leading the air category, they have 2 to the Miller Express's none. 3 blank innings for the Mavericks here, run-wise, as they scored in the first and then couldn't get anything going. A similar pattern to what the Miller Express have seen. They started the first 3 innings without a run before getting 1 in the 4th, and they'll look to tally 1 or maybe more up here and either tie or get a lead of their own. They haven't led in this game so far. We have 1 person watching right now. That is Wayne Slosher. Well, 2, I guess, because I'll be watching in a second on my side. But we do have an official word that this stream has been sent out to YouTube. So people will be coming in sooner or later. An official.
I kind of think that the majority would be watching it just on Point Street.
On Point Street?
Yeah.
Well, if you want the live, it's here. It's good practice.
Yeah. No earned runs for Roberts in this game.
That is number 25, Eduardo Sanchez.
So Eduardo Sainz comes up to the bat. Sainz will take his time moving on that left-hand side to face Xander Roberts, who, if you're JT, you got to be happy with how many innings you've gotten out of him, as that one fouled aside by Sainz.
Well, action in the bullpen as we speak.
And you would assume that this is either one of Diego Centella or Luis Diaz. Both were ready to go today with a couple of days off due to the weather. And it looks like it is Luis Diaz, who's got one of the best off-speed pitches in the WCBL with his slider. 1-1 the count here to Signs. Signs are going to crack this one into the glove of Roth at third. Long throw to first, and Morrison on the other end. That's out number 1.
That's a great play.
Yeah, not an easy play from your knees. Roth, a quick player at third base. We have started to see his speed become more of a factor defensively and offensively as the season has progressed.
It's good that he took his time to get to his feet and make the throw and not just try to throw it from his knees.
Well, when you rush that play, sometimes you can airmail one. We've already seen a ball be dropped at first today, so I want to make sure that the man on the other end can secure it. Roberts trying to secure his third victory of the season. Wasn't tagged with anything in his first appearance this year, but the last two have both been wins, including a massive one against the Okotoks Dogs. Volcano going to try and get a defensive play, and it pops out of his hand.
Should be a hit.
It's going to be a tough play for Volcano to make, and not an easy transition for any shortstop.
There's no guarantee, even if he makes a throw, that he's going to get the runner.
Here comes Gustavo Soto. Looks like he's got a hood on the back of his jersey. In those cold temperatures, sometimes they'll throw a sweatshirt underneath, and it looks like Soto has done exactly that. Quick look over to his third base coach. Then he'll step in and get ready to swing. Here's the throw from Roberts. Couldn't get it down, so that's ball number 2. It's a 2-0 count in a 2-1 game here at Athletic Park. 1 out in the inning so far. We'll try and keep you updated as much as we can with score, count, hits, all of your stats needs, as we don't have a score bug on this platform. So we'll work around as best as we can, and it's exactly what Roberts is doing on the mound. This one fouled backwards. So the count goes over to 2-2. Soto will get ready. Roberts gets confirmation at the mound. Runner over at first. And here's the throw. Couldn't get it down, and so the count will run full. Soto, patience at the plate here. Roberts on a full count. This one sent skyward, and it'll make its way all the way back into the stands, even past the stands. So we'll try things again. This may be the last inning of work for Xander Roberts, who, Wayne, for those who have missed the game so far, he's been pretty good.
He has been very good.
Not on that pitch there as he hits Soto. He'll go over to first. And JT's going to come out and chat or potentially remove Roberts from the game and bring in Diaz. Everybody gathers around the mound. And it looks like that will do it for Roberts. Couldn't finish the inning off, but he had a great game once again. And he gets a standing ovation from a light crowd here at Athletic Park due to the weather conditions.
Well, that was 98 pitches, which he's up there. So had a good outing. He leaves. Hopefully he can get out of this inning with being a pitcher of decision, not in a negative way.
A couple of runners still on the base path here. Those belong to Roberts. And we get ready for Luis Diaz. Boy, has he been good. The ERA higher than he likes, but he's still very effective. And when he gets players chasing with his off speed, he's almost unstoppable. Got some church music here, Wayne. It's been lots of slow dance type songs that we've heard today.
Well, it's Bark in the Park. Maybe the dogs like this slow music, do they?
I'm not sure. Hey, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, one of the Who Let the Dogs Out? A couple of songs that might be more fitting.
Coming into the pitch for your Mavericks is number 28, Luis Diaz.
So the announcement of Diaz officially made. Get some cheers from the crowd. It's the coldest day we've had this year for the Mavericks. They've been very fortunate with the amount of sunshine that's been had, and it hasn't been in that 40 degrees Celsius range where it's almost too hot to be outside. It's been in that sweet spot, 25, 27, 30-ish, and that's good baseball weather. Good weather for the concessions as well here, as I'm sure they do well on sales of alcoholic beverages and pops and whatever else you can come up
Hot
with.
chocolate and coffee.
Well, today it has been switched up to that. Diaz will talk into his hat and get ready to go. 2 runners on, a chance to tie this ball game up with 1 in scoring position for the Miller Express. Although I'm sure they're thinking about taking the lead here. See what Diaz can do in his first matchup of the night. Throw is going to miss. And we hope that next time we have a Mavericks game here, which is Thursday against the Regina Red Sox, that we're back on our regular platform of Flow Sports and everything can be running smooth. But I would be lying to you if I were to say that I would promise that we could be back on there. There's lots of moving pieces going on the other side of things, many that we're not aware of, and so we'll deal with things accordingly, but we'll try and get you an update as quick as possible to whether we'll be on there or not. As far as this game goes, it'll be on YouTube for the rest of the day. So, and Wayne, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when you pull up to show me if the live stream's going or not, that my voice is maybe relaying for a second time.
It is. It's good to see that there's 15 people watching thereabouts, and welcome to the broadcast.
The makeshift broadcast, the computer on top of a garbage can broadcast. And that was thrown aside here, but it looks like we're going to reset, and this will be a full count. Sneaky one from Diaz.
Well, and Jackson Martin apologized to the umpire for throwing his bat and assuming it was ball 4. Didn't mean to show him up.
So let's rerun. Martin, Diaz. 1 out in the inning. Here comes the pitch from Luis. Swing and a miss as he sits down Martin. You can see Martin look back one more time to talk to home plate umpire Mike Richards, and I think it was more so an apology once more. He really didn't mean to do anything, and a sign of good sportsmanship from Martin. So 2 outs, 2 on. It's the Miller Express still threatening here in a big spot as this game gets later and later. First pitch is a strike from Diaz. Ben Wallazek at the plate. Diaz. Wallazek is going to send this one, and it just creeps foul. Started on line, but a last-minute slice put it wide. 0-2 the count. Diaz hunting for one more strike. Wallazek hunting for a pitch that he can blast into the green grass. And Wallazek complaining about something here. Not sure what it's about. Did you maybe think that there was a balk on the mound?
I'm not sure. I think he might have been asking for a different ball.
Home plate umpire will go and grab that one. King taps himself on the chest. I'm not sure what his involvement in everything was there. Diaz, look behind him. Here comes the throw. It's going to be fouled aside. A couple of seagulls flying up in the air here. Thought it might be too cold for any wildlife to be out and about, but.
Well, after a rain, they're always looking for worms that come up through the grass and through the dirt. So it's feeding time.
Diaz, one look. This one over to second base. It's grabbed onto by Dale, plays it to first, and there it is, out number 3. So Luis Diaz comes in, and he delivers. Those two runners that belong to Roberts will stay put, and the Mavs lead stays put as well. If you're just joining us, it is 2-1 for Medicine Hat as we get into the bottom of the 6th inning. Weston Walls, well, his day might be over on the mound. We'll see if they bring him back out. They do. So a slow walk here from Walls. Nobody warming up in the Miller Express bullpen. You would think that they would have just about everyone available with the off day yesterday.
So the line score for Xander Roberts, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 1 hit batter.
If you're wondering what that means in word terms, pretty darn good.
That's a good outing. I'm sure, like all pitchers, he'd like to have the walks at 0 or 1 and maybe a few more strikeouts. But the main thing is he's leaving his team in a win position.
And Wall's looking to get his team back into that position, or at least give them a chance to. The Bats have to work in correspondence with his play, but only giving up 2 runs so far, much better than the last time we saw him here at AP. Now, to be fair for Walls' sake, that was his first appearance of the season, so he's probably shaking off some of the cobwebs still.
Well, he's only given up 6 hits in this game and only 2 runs. So Mushaw can't be disappointed with his outing as either.
He was relied on to be their guy coming into this year. Matt Vasquez no longer with the team. We know how good he was. We saw him last year, the hard-throwing lefty. And, of course, Takeo Cookson, also on the squad last year.
The Mavs are going to have to score some runs because we know that Mushaw has been averaging over 10 runs a game, and they're only at 1 run. So the Mavs are going to have to pick up some runs here along the way.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if the time that they meet up against each other, no one can score? Throw over to first, and that will be out number 1 as Aaron Volcano is gunned down. And here comes Evan Morrison up to the plate. Hasn't been one of his best days.
No, that run that scored for Mushaw, there was 2 away, easy ground ball to Blake Dale at second, and he fielded it, flipped it over to Morrison, and he just dropped it. And that was followed by a walk, put runners on first and second, then a single, loaded the bases, then another walk. But Robert should have been out of that inning with 3 consecutive batters.
First ball on the count here to Evan Morrison. 1 out. Morrison will take that low, so he's got a good spot now, 2-0. Maybe a sign of fatigue here from Walls. Still nobody warming up for the Miller Express. And I don't believe anybody has warmed up at all today.
No, they haven't.
We're trusting in their guy. We mentioned last broadcast, but you don't see a lot of complete games in the WCBL. So if Walls does go all the way, it would be an anomaly. Here's the throw from Walls. And he clicks for a strike there. The count is to 2-2.
So he's only at 84 pitches right now. So he's probably going to finish this inning unless the Mavs get something going.
Here's a slow roller, and they're going to say that it was fouled off and hit in foul territory before it reached the green grass.
Well, it went off Morrison's foot.
It did make a funky noise.
That's why it was foul. And you can see he's kind of feeling the effects. Went off his right foot.
And the catcher in Soto, I think, was checking on him after that play. Walls into his glove in a 2-2 count against Evan Morrison. Here comes the pitch. Morrison's going to blast this one. Long run in left field. It's going to drop and head to the back wall. Morrison's going to head for 2 as he's on his horse, and he's in there. A double for the Mavs first baseman and a chance to up this lead. And as you said, Wayne, very important in these latter half innings.
Yeah, every run right now is more and more important because we know Moose Jaw is going to have their at-bat yet where they're going to have runners on. Next inning, top of the 7th, they got the top of the order up. So the Mavs need to be able to pull something out here.
Now, the Mavs could see that top of the order twice still.
Yes.
And you can only keep Gurney and Edwards and Soto, Yager down for so long. Chabot fouls this one into right foul territory over by the batting cages. And it looks like we got a pitcher warming up finally for the Miller Express, Andres Zarate. One's going to hit for a strike. Chabot looked back. He was almost waiting for a call that was a little bit late. Wayne, as a catcher, do you sometimes know before the ball reaches whether it's going to be a ball or a strike?
Yeah. As a catcher, you know the arm angle of the pitcher and the flight of the ball right away.
Is that the same for all players?
Well, for all catchers.
But say for a first baseman, they wouldn't have as good of a read
No.
as a catcher.
No. First of all, the catcher knows what is supposed to be coming, whether it's a curveball, slider, changeup, fastball, and he's setting up location. And most of the times, the pitchers at this level may not hit the location all of the time, but they're fairly close. So as a catcher, you know halfway to home that where the ball is going to end up.
Chabot is behind here 0-2. Walls, a look around the diamond, and then here comes the throw, and it hits Chabot. He had the advantage in the count, but for Jamel, fortunate to be hit, also unfortunate in the same sentence.
Well, it's a curveball. He just stood there, let it hit him. He wanted to get on base. He knew that he was behind in the count. And good job by Chabot.
Here comes Blake Dale with 2 on, and there'll be a mound meeting here with Walls. Could this be the end of his day?
Well, I don't think Zarate is warmed up yet, so they might give him another hitter.
And taking a look at some of the games around the WCBL today, the Regina Red Sox, boy, they either play in games that are 1 run or they blow you out by 8, and they did that to the Sylvan Lake Gulls today. We're at 500. It's a rarity within their existence. Bottom of the 8th over in Saskatoon, the Berries in a close one against the Energy City Cactus Rats. It's 4-3. One could go anyway. The Swift Current and Weyburn game postponed today. Weyburn's played a lot of games in the last week, so I'm sure they're happy with that. And then in the second game of Red Sox and Gulls today, the Red Sox also winning that one 4-2 over the Gulls. So Sylvan Lake could be below 500. Fort Mac and Brooks, another game that was postponed. And then the Berries, once they complete their game against the Cactus Rats, will have another one right after. So lots of baseball being played in Saskatoon today. Dale held out the bunt signal. We'll pull it away as Soto keeps that one ahead of himself. But the cancellations this week have been, well, there's been a lot of them. And it's been tough for this league to adjust with finding what dates work for what games, making travel easy for teams, especially when you got to make that Fort Mac road trip. You don't want to have one way back in Lethbridge right after. Dale will try another bunt. That's a job in itself. The scheduling coordinator of the WCBL had his hands full over the last 3 days.
Well, not everyone's going to be happy with the resulting schedule, but you do have to get the games in, and sometimes an extra road trip is just necessary.
And some might ask, well, if every team isn't playing on a day, or every team has a game canceled. Why wouldn't you just play one less game? Well, for the owners in this league, one extra game or just having that game is huge in turning a profit, especially for teams that miss the playoffs. Say, for example, Weyburn the last couple of years, being able to make sure that they get all those home games is crucial to their existence.
Blake Dale back into a hitter's count.
2-1 with 1 out and 2 on here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And did he get hit? He did, and that one hurt. Dale gripping onto his wrist, and he shakes it frantically.
Well, that's one thing. Walls is not scared to come inside with a fastball, and he's done that several times in this game. And unfortunate that he hit Blake Dale, and hopefully he's going to be okay, but the bases are loaded.
Yeah, not intentional by any means. And as you said, Wayne, that's been his spot that he tries to pick.
Especially ahead in the count. This time he was behind 2-1. Blake Dale does not want to come out of the game. So he's going to go to first.
And I guess Dale's argument might be you don't need your wrist to be able to run. You just hope he doesn't get into a situation where he has to slide and then you may be aggravated a little more.
Well, it's his left hand, so it won't bother him throwing. And back-to-back hit batters loads the bases.
It's a chance for Nate King. He was scored last inning to give the Mavericks a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, he led off with a double.
Walls a long wait, high leg kick, deals it, and he hit King up high.
That's in the helmet.
And King is down.
They're calling for the medics right away, and they're going down there. He'll have to come out of the game. No intent, of course, from Walls.
And a scary situation with Nate King. Will turn away from that out of respect for the Mavericks catcher.